Hi guys, hello, good evening, good afternoon. It's gonna look a little bit messy today. It's fine at the minute because you guys can see like the team and score I got last week, but we're gonna be purely focusing on wild cards. We all knew pre-season that before the ball was even kicked at the start of the season, we were going to be considering wildcarding in the first international break, like game week 4, which is now, or wildcarding potentially in around game week 7, 8, 9-ish. Obviously, we've been throwing some curveballs, myself included right now, with the likes of Martinez being out. I'd even been looking at Davinson Sanchez, the Spurs centre-half. He's going to be out. South Americans are still going to be leaving the end of September, the end of October, and I think also the end of November. So maybe even the likes of Rafinha, you're keeping an eye on them because the Brazilians aren't going this time and the Argentinians are. But next time, who's to say which people are going to go. Even things like Raul Jimenez with Mexico. I think I saw somewhere that, was it Mexico? I want to say Mexico, Chile, and Paraguay, or Mexico, Chile, and Uruguay were lodging complaints against the Premier League for not letting their players go. Let me just see if that is those three countries. Double check. I'll have to find it later, but I did see that there were some appeals going in from some countries, so who knows what's going to happen. So hey Matt, welcome buddy. So what I'll be doing as well is not just talk about my team. The idea of this, guys, is to look at your team. So I've asked you on Twitter to send me your teams, and I've saved some onto my computer, and I'll smash them up onto the screen over here, and then we can discuss. So if you guys are thinking, am I going to wildcard? Should I wildcard? What do you guys think? Here's my draft. Here's my template. This is what I've been going to. Then this is our space to do that. You know, we're a pretty tight community. There's a lot of you guys that I see come here most weeks. Krista, Neil, Matt, Rudy. I can see you guys. Then Adam here as well. Yeah, Paraguay is one of them. I think Mexico as well. So the great thing about my channel not being that particularly big is that we can spend the time to look at each other's teams and give each other opinions and see if it helps or hinders us, right? So if you do have a temptation to wildcard, or you contemplating taking hits, so I myself, I had 2 free transfers. I've had to use a transfer, and I already did it on Martinez because I don't have a goalkeeper. And I discussed when I was on the fantasy football one, I was like, on the fantasy football scout on Monday, and I was thinking, should I just go a week without a goalkeeper? And it just doesn't feel right. I know a goalkeeper might only get 2 points, but it just does not feel right to give myself 10 men. It just doesn't. Hey, Luke, welcome back, buddy. It just didn't feel right. So I have already used a transfer for Raya, before its price rise, which is good. Now, I'll give you guys a quick lowdown on my likely plan, but then we're going to get into the wildcard stuff, because I've made some wildcard drafts, guys, including a Ronaldo and Lukaku one, which is risky, but there's a Ronaldo one. It's tough to ignore Ronaldo right now. And yes, he is a catalyst for many people popping the wildcards, but I think he's more like the straw that's breaking the camel's back, rather than, oh, it's Ronaldo, I'm going to destroy my team and get a wild card in and get him in. You know, a lot of us have got Simicast in our teams. We've done 3 game weeks now, so we're starting to get an idea about teams and shapes and players that are nailed on, etc. And I just think when Ronaldo's come in and Lukaku's come in, they've not necessarily been just the main reason why people are going to wild card now. It's like we've looked at a team. We all knew, for example, Aston Villa. Aston Villa were a 3-week side. And you look at it now and you think, well, I'm not fancying Ings. Barnes has had a terrible start to the season. This player's not doing too well. And now we've got Lukaku and Ronaldo. Maybe now's the time to do it. So I'll just, you can see Grealish is on my bench, and I'll explain why. Because a likely move I could make would just be a -4. And it means Barnes will be playing and Grealish will go out. But I'll explain in a moment. But I'll go through some of the drafts I've made. And maybe if you look at some of the drafts I've made, you might think, oh, actually, that's not too bad. And it might push you to do something similar. So let's just catch up with the chat. So Rudy's already said that he's planning to do a wildcard. We've had some people that have said that they're not planning to do it. And I'll put those on as well to give you guys your, to see what you guys think as well, your opinion. All right, guys, one of them, Neil, looking at imposing a pan and playing in the EFL. It's nuts, isn't it? Oh, Premier League, yeah, not EFL. You've got Martinez, you're stuck as well. And Neil, there's nothing we could have done about this, right? There's no way we would have known who was going and who was not. This happened like deadline moments after, what kind of thing. So it happens. I think we can agree, Neil, that the only mistake that we've made here is we should have just, if we knew we weren't going to tripling up on Villa, we should have just got the 2 Villa keepers. That's my regret. And Neil, you've also just said what I was talking about earlier. Martinez may well miss out on games before as well, because like I said, it's like the end of the next 3 months, the end of each month now is going to be South American footballers. So no Brazilians this time, but the Brazilians going next time, and Mexicans and so on, going for the next 3 months. Hey Martin, good to see you too, buddy. Plan on wildcard next week, jump on the CR7 train, because why not? Thoughts on 1 week Arsenal? Wait, next week? So you're not going to get in for the Newcastle, you're going to wait a week. Thoughts on a one? No, I can't recommend any Arsenal players, Martin. I really can't. I'd rather back Pookie at Norwich. Hey, Denver. Welcome, buddy. I've got your 2 drafts as well, Denver. I'll go through it. All right, so let me just explain. So I've already used 1 transfer, and that was Raya in and Martinez out. That's given me $1 million in the bank. And really, really simply, guys, it was going to be Grealish down to a 4.5 million. So let's just put Allen in there because he's the top scoring 4.5 million player right now. And then, of course, it would be Ings going up to Monsieur Cristiano Ronaldo. And that's a -4. And the way that I looked at it when I've done transfer plans and I've looked forward is if I just did a -4 and kept this team, yes, I have to play Barnes, and I get it. He's had a bad start to the season, but when I look at my 11, it will be a 4-4-2. It will be Raya in goal. It'll be Trent, Shaw, Kufal, Cody. And I've already looked at the long-term transfers. If I want a wildcard now, or I want a wildcard week 6 or 7. So, for example, if Cody plays the next 4 in a 4-4-2, that ain't bad. It's not. This is why I brought him in for Veltman and left him on the bench for a couple of weeks. Watford, Brentford, Southampton, Newcastle, Villa in the next 5. All right, Villa's not easy, but I only need him for the next 3 or 4, right? So Watford, Brentford, Southampton, Newcastle, he's fine in a 4-4-2. Luke Shaw, Trent Alexander-Arnold, you wouldn't really be benching them anyway, would you? I mean, what's the point in paying 7.5 and 5.5 on a player going to bench? And then I've got Soufal here. Yes, he's got Man United, but again, West Ham are looking fantastic. He's always a danger. I'm not too worried about that. So if I did just do a -4, Barnes stays, Grealish goes out to Allen, and I get him Ronaldo, play a 4-4-2. I know I've got Barnes against City, but similar to the likes of Heung-min Son, who plays better against bigger clubs in a counter-attack, maybe, just maybe, Leicester at home to Man City for Barnes is the kind of fixture that he's looking for. Because similar to, and I'm not saying similar to Son in terms of like their ability, but in terms of that style of getting in behind and counter-attacking football, Leicester rock at that, and so do Spurs. So if I just suck it up and take a -4 and suck it up, and for 1 week have him against Manchester City, where he might just get me 2 points, or might be fine, deal with it. But then he's got Brighton, Burnley, Palace. So my other option was to take a -8, and it would just be Barnes to Traore. So I take a -8, and it's Barnes to Traore, and it just didn't feel worth it. It just does. I've been a huge fan of the Wolves boys. I've been bigging up Traore. His stats are well up there. If he had an end product, it'd be absolutely incredible. But I don't feel the sense for 1 week, and if I'm going to wildcard in like 3 or 4 weeks, I'm still possibly going to wildcard this break, and I'll show you some of my drafts and your drafts if you send them on Twitter, and I'll put them on here as well. Or if you send me your current team and ask people about wildcarding, we can do that too. So I just think remember, you've got to add it up, and Barnes for a -4 for Traore. That means Traore's got to outscore Barnes and also contribute to the rest of the -8, and it just didn't feel worth it. So the first move I'd make would just be simply Grealish to Allen and Ings to Ronaldo, -4. Okay, so I get a little bit messy now. Let me turn the capture off, and I'll put my current team just above me here. So this up here is my current team. But before we look at my team, I want to look at some of your teams. So let me just catch up with the chat before I pop them on. Neil, Ings to Antonio, DCL, or Jimenez. Okay, so Luke, it's got to be Antonio. Antonio's looks absolutely incredible. Doesn't look like slowing down. Calvert-Lewin has an injury right now. I think he's going to be fine. But I mentioned as well on that scout stream that When I'm really looking at transfers now, I'm looking at matchups. Now, Burnley have conceded an incredible amount of headed opportunities. But I just feel like a rough and tumble team like Burnley can stack up against Everton and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But I just cannot deny that Antonio's the best option right now. Am I planning on bringing Martinez back in team when he's back? Adam, no. I've not been particularly pleased with Aston Villa as it is. And like we said earlier in the stream about the South Americans going away at the end of every month, I can't bring in... It's bad enough as it is. I've used a transfer on a goalkeeper, right? Could you imagine having to do that every month? So I just can't have a goalkeeper who... isn't he going to play every month? It's just not worth it. What's the money reason right for Sorrow Force? Yes, Neil. Because if you saw that when I did Grealish to Allen or any 4.5 like Sissoko or Brownhill, whatever, Ings perfectly goes up to Ronaldo for 0. So yes, it was for extra money. So Neil, great question. If I don't wildcard this week, how long will I do it after? I'll come back to that when I show you the drafts that I've made that I think look absolutely incredibly solid long term, but not yet. So in short, Neil, I'm going to tell you that I was potentially going to wildcard either at the end of game week 6, so before game week 7, or at the end of game week 7 before game week 8. And I'll show you, because the team that I'm going to show you guys, I think you'll agree, all round solid. A lot of you will be in the same position of me, where, for example, we don't have a bench. I've got Parika, who's in Israel. He doesn't even play in the Premier League anymore. And I've got Simicast, who we all know, bless him, he did his bits. He did fantastic in what we wanted for him, but he's probably not going to play anymore. Let's be honest about that. He might get one game because he's proven he could be trusted to give Robertson a break. That's been a problem with Liverpool. They've always had to play game in, game out. Robertson, Trent. So maybe, just maybe, he might pick up 1 or 2 games this season just to give Robbo, you can't have Robbo play every single minute of every single game. So when we talk about wildcard, we're talking about long term, because you don't want to play your second wildcard till, post game week 20. So you're looking at your wildcard. Yes, you've got transfers. Yes, you make changes, but you've got 15, 20 odd weeks that you're going to have with this card. So I'll show you the drafts later. Let me just catch up with the chat. You're going Buendia to Smith Rowe. A lot of people do that. And Ings to Lukaku, captain. I cannot deny Ings to Lukaku, or Lukaku in general. I think it's a fantastic option. Would I keep showing a wild card? No. If I wildcarded now, yes. And then I'd transfer him out probably in 2 weeks. Bruno and Ings to Torres and Ronaldo for -4. Do you think Torres and Ronaldo will score? Okay. So here's the thing. You guys know that I don't have Bruno. And I've not had him all season. And that was because I didn't want 2 incredible highly owned players. But I tell you something now. I completely understand people wanting Ronaldo. I'm in a situation where I can get Ronaldo and I don't have to take a hit to take out a big player I'm scared of. I'd be taking out Grealish and putting in Ronaldo. I think that is a risk you guys would take. I feel as though a -4 for Bruno is going to bite people. Like, even if Ronaldo gets 1 goal, I can see Bruno getting 2 assists in that game. So I always say it's so much easier when I can look at things logically and try and give advice and give stats and reasoning. But I completely also understand you guys sitting there like I am and going, I want Ronaldo in my team. So logically, I just cannot. I can't recommend Bruno out for a hit. Just say that to yourself. If you would have said this 2 weeks ago, after he bags a hat-trick, or if you'd have said this any time last season, you're going to take out Bruno Fernandes for a -4. You'd have called me crazy if I'd have sat here and recommended that to you. In some of my drafts, coming back to Torres, I'm not massively keen. Torres has had 1 blinding game week. And it's like everyone's gone, Manchester City no longer rotates their striker. Like, I get it. He had a banger of a game week. And he's playing well when he's there. But if you think he's going to play all the time up front in that role, then you've not been watching a Pep Guardiola team in the Premier League for the last few years, if you ask me. You do worry that if you wildcarded, you wouldn't improve your bench very much, and that could hurt. Wait for some drafts, Neil, when they come up. Have a good midfield to try and get Lukaku and CR7. Yeah, I think you can make a really, really strong budget midfield and get them in. I have got some drafts, so we'll have a look. You made a mistake. You captained Bruno last week. You're in the top 40k. Feel like you're already lost. Dexter, you are miles ahead of everyone. If you are in the top 500 to a million right now, you can still win it. Hey, Reese, love your thoughts pre-season about that. Would you move to this strategy? No. I only said to start the season with 5 at the back, which, by the way, was the best the 2 game weeks. I haven't seen what the best game week 3 team was, but the best possible team you could have had in game week 1 and game week 2 was 5 at the back. But I would probably suggest 4-4-2 or 4-3-3. I just like that because if something happens with the bench, if you've got 5 defenders, you're never going to have a perfect week because you're always going to have one of your 5 defenders that's got Arsenal or Arsenal, you don't care if you play Arsenal, but Chelsea, City, Liverpool, teams like that. So 5 at the back now, for long term, I would not do it because you'd always be having one of those 5 lads. 4 at the back's perfect. If you've got 5 good defenders and play 4 of them, the one that plays against a Liverpool or a Man City or a Chelsea, you just don't play that one, play 4. You really don't see the point. Punt for Traore, Wolves defensively, maybe yes. I just think something is coming for Traore. Simicast to Livermental -4 would save it. No, I can't recommend that at all. Before Simicast drops, just let Simicast drop. Let him drop. Like, he's done his duty. I can't recommend taking a -4 for a guy who's going to sit on your bench. Unless you've got 0 bench. I can't recommend -hits for bench people. So if you take a minus before a wild card, do you still have the points subscribed? No. In the same game week, Jonathan. So for example, let's say I make 2 transfers now, take a -4, and then tomorrow I think, no, I'm going to play my wild card, and then I play my wild card. You don't take it. You don't get any hits for this game week. You're thinking of wildcarding on a double game week, that would work. Okay, so Ethan, the problem with that is I always say with FPL, especially with the pandemic and stuff like that, play the game that's in front of you. I think to set up for a double game week, it's better to wait until your second wild card, and then you combine that with like your free hit if it lands correctly. Bruno and Ronaldo or Ronaldo. I like Ronaldo. Ronaldo? No, I can't say that, Neil. Actually, let's just have a quick check. What's his ownership? Still only 12%, guys. He's a no, it's not a differential, but you'll get his points, and that's what I want. For me, it was with Bruno and Salah. It wasn't just about their price. It was about the fact that you'd have 2 50-60% owned players that are just never going to get you anywhere. And I know game week 1 they banged, and I said the worst case scenario is both of them bang, and that hurts your rank. But since then I've gone from what even my rank now, 400k, which after game week 1 it's not even that bad. Shaw could benefit a bit from Ronaldo's heading. Yes, I'd keep him in now until Manchester United's fixtures swing. Run into Lukaku, Shaw to James in 4 game weeks time, roll the transfers. Yes, that's my idea about Man City and Chelsea defenders. I think Chelsea could win the league, and we know Man City could as well, and they have the best defenses, and you'll see that in one of my drafts. It was 3-4-3 for game week 3. Oh, okay. The best possible formation game week 3 was 3-4-3. Thank you. 5 was the call. It worked. It did. I started this season with, I think I went with 4 at the back. But yeah, it was genuinely true. The best possible team you could have had, not including the manager of the week and stuff like that, was 5 defenders. Is Greenwood's time now limited? It's a funny thing, Luke. On the Fantasy Football Scout stream on Monday with Ted, like, I was just like, you look at the options that they've got up front. So Ronaldo, Cavani, Martial, Greenwood, Rashford when he's back, Sancho, Pogba can play left wing, but he's probably going to drop back. So many. And I was like, if there's probably someone going to make way for a while or at times, it's going to be the young lad. It's going to be Greenwood. And some of the people like, you don't know what you're talking about. He's nailed. No, he's not. But I also can't tell you he's going to be dropped. And I know he's scoring goals, but let's be honest, Greenwood's goals have not exactly been flashes of brilliance. 2 of them have been particularly fortunate. I still think he's going to play a lot. But when I'm looking at a player that's worth now 7.7 million, I don't think so. I'll have Ronaldo and that'll do for me. Thank you very much. The thoughts on Gallagher as a long-term enabler for the Palace lad? No, I'm not touching Palace. Hey Malcolm, I've got your stream on here. If you could have one striker, who would you choose? Ronaldo. Oh, all right. Malcolm, are we talking about premium? Because Antonio's been absolutely electric right now. So, I mean, if you were to say, gun to my head, you have to delete every striker from your team for like the next 3 game weeks. You can only have one. I'd take Antonio. It'd kill me because I'd want Ronaldo or maybe Lukaku, but Antonio is just absolutely dominating. So, let's start with current team discussion. Who are we going to start? Malcolm, let's start with yours because Malcolm, you said I'm going to assume it's the same Malcolm, the West Ham fan, is it Malcolm? If I remember rightly. Pretty sure you're a Hammer. Because Malcolm tweeted, he said he's holding. He is not. He is not doing a wild card. And if you're not Malcolm, I'd be curious to the same question that Neil asked me. When would you be wildcarding? When would you be wildcarding with this? Would be my question. So Trent and Shaw, I think 90% of teams that we all know have Trent and Shaw, right? White against Norwich, no other is. See, now here's your first problem. Unless you're using a transfer for a defender, White's likely going to be back. Are you just always going to play White? I know Arsenal's got decent fixtures, but it's Arsenal. They're literally bottom of the table right now. Sticking with Bruno and Salah, which I think is fine. Benrahma, Fornals. Malcolm, you can tell you're a West Ham fan. Triple West Ham here. Fornals has done the business. Can't argue against it. But could he be under pressure now, Fornals, with the new signing at West Ham? Lukaku captain, I think, is a fantastic shout. Antonio, phenomenal. And you've got Armstrong, and he is in my favorite draft I've made so far. The bench is an issue. So, yeah, this could hold out, I think, just fine. Marty could be a problem if Vestergaard's back. I don't think he's going to stay. And then in this case, if any of your defenders are out, you're playing with 10 men. What do I think of Jota? Have we heard more on Firmino's injury? Great question, Adam. I do have Jota in a lot of my drafts on the condition of Firmino. Firmino like kind of jogged off the pitch, and then people were immediately like 3 to 4 months, and I just don't see a tear being 3 to 4 months when you've jogged off the pitch. I just don't. All right, let's go on to. So Malcolm's not going. Let's go to one of Denver's. I think this is one of Denver's plans. It's not going to be too clear. So this is one of the drafts that Denver has made. Denver's made 2 actually. So if I can't put them both at the same time, but I'll just leave this one here. So Steele and Raya. I think a lot of people are rightly going to be choosing Aston Villa's 4 million goalkeeper as the second sub, because if Martinez is going to sod off at the end of every month, you could have a 4 million goalkeeper sat on your bench playing, right? So I think that's fine. Now, my only change here, and I'm always going to have the same opinion, right? Because I've got my own ideas, and I'm not going to change it when people have posted something else. But I would just change Duffy to Livramento. The Southampton fullback looks like he's got that slot down. Duffy has had, don't get me wrong, Duffy has had a very, very good start to the season. Well, I say good start. He's got 9 points in 3 games. And they have decent fixtures. But However, they've signed the new left wing back. They've still got Lampard to come back. They've still got Burn to come back. And Veltman is already back. I don't know how long Duffy lasts. So again, I said earlier about wildcards. If you're going to wildcard, you need a team and a squad. Like, of course, you have transfers to make, but you don't want to ever use a transfer on your third sub, right? You only ever want to use transfers, you know, on your starting 11, in theory. And if I was to wildcard now, that 4.1 million slot has got to be, in my opinion, a player that's going to last you until your second wildcard, because you don't want to waste it on your third sub. So for me, that's just a Duffy to Livramento change. Now, interestingly, Rudiger, Trent, Shaw, Reguilon, that's a solid back line. I like it. Going into the midfield as well, a full solid 5. So here, you could go for a 4-4-2 by playing all of these 4 defenders and benching Gray. You could go for a 3-5-2 and you could play Gray. And they would be, you're not going to play 5 at the back with Duffy unless the fixtures panned out. And wiggle room. This is another point that I'm going to talk about. Where can you go if it goes wrong or if you need to make a change? So a lot of people, for example, if you make a wild card with like 4 premiums somehow, right? Where can you go if it hits the fan? So, for example, Ben Rama gets dropped or things don't go too well, go down to Traore. Or Gray down to a 4.5 and use that money to upgrade someone somewhere else kind of thing, right? So there is a little bit of wiggle room here, but not a lot. So my only issue here, and it comes back because Torres is one of my drafts, but I do have that coverage that if you play, because you've got to play 4 at the back. If you're benching a player that's worth 5.1 million and you've got 5.6 here, that's fine. But let's say you play Torres and he doesn't play. That means you've got a good defender on Gray coming on. That seems fine. The only problem here is if you're not playing with 3 strikers, you're going to have a dead position. That's the thing with the wild card. Remember, we're looking for players that's going to last us for a long time. Playing with a 4.5 million means that you don't have a full squad because he's never going to play. So if you are looking to wild card, I do think a 3-man up front formation with a 4-3-3 might be fine. I think I've seen some good 4-3-3 ideas as well. And that's just because a 4.5 million defender will play, or even a 4.1 million defender, or 4 million Williams at Norwich will play. A 4.5 million midfielder will play. A 4.5 million striker will not. And that's the only problem there. And I think Denver's second team is pretty similar to that. That's Denver 1. I want Denver 2. Just a little bit different. Oh no, this one is you can see here he's got Ronaldo and Lukaku and Antonio, an absolute fiery front line. Rudiger, Trent, Shaw, and again 4 defenders here. So this could possibly be a 4-3-3. Why does this feel like there's too much money? This looks like a really good one. That's so true. The defender at 4 or 4.5 million is so much better. Yep. Adam Chin, you're on a 3-5-2 wildcard. Currently, we're now wildcard. So, not hating it. Adam, I can't disagree. The only problem with that is Antonio is so good and he looks so good for his price right now. But for this one, I'm surprised this even fits. So Rudiger, Trent, and Shaw's gonna play, and Reguilon, so 4. Jota. So again, here the wiggle room is here. If Jota and Greenwood get dropped, you've got places to go. You can go down to a Traore. You can go down to a Mason Mount. You've got places to go. You can go down to Torres if he does manage to nail his place at Man City. I forgot where he played there. The issue is going to be here. They don't play. You've got Gray and Dallas. I like this. I think this is a well-balanced squad. And again, I would just change Duffy to Livramento. But you've got to keep an eye on how long is Jota going to get some time in the side and how much is Greenwood going to get time in the side. But that's really simple. You can drop one of them to a 4.5 and use that money to upgrade the other one. So like Greenwood to a 4.5 and then Jota can go up to a Son even. So that could work out pretty well. I like that one, Denver. That's a really good one. Antonio's a gamble because of the Europa League. And an injury is definitely coming around the corner. Cannot deny it. I can't say I'm not scared of it. And look, let's just look at the general positives and negatives of a wild card. Pre-wild card, we can be a little bit cheeky and a little bit reckless with what we're going to do. And I don't mean stupid reckless like destroying our teams. I mean punt. So yeah, I can take a -4 and have a crack at Ronaldo. Let's have a go. Let's see what he can do back in the Premier League. If it turns out he's absolutely rubbish, I can go away from him. If you've wildcarded and you've done that, that's not good. You're in trouble. You're gonna have to spread the funds out. You're gonna have to maybe take hits just after you've done a wild card. Torres is another example. If you think, wow, Torres is doing pretty well for Man City. He's going to have a run in the side. I'm going to bring him in. Gets dropped, doesn't play for 3 games. All right, you don't have to transfer him out. You do a wild card, just things like that. So, of course, there's positive and negatives. Game week 3, game week 4 is early to wild card because, like I said, you've got to have this team for like 20 game weeks, which is why I think it's really important to do it as a whole. But some people are going to say, well, your team's good. You've got a good team. But it can always be better. And sometimes I feel as though when I show some of the drafts in a minute, these are the players we're going to jump on in game week 6, game week 7. What if we just jump on them now and we get ahead of them now? And then when people wildcard in game week 7 and game week 8, they're going to jump onto the players you've already had for 3 weeks. The other side of the coin is the players that you do bring in fall off a cliff or they get injured. I don't mean literally fall off a cliff, but the form dips. And you can't get rid of them, and you got to take hits to sort it out. This is a part of the game, right? You take the gamble, you see the players, you take the chance. So, for example, if we find out Firmino is out for 3 to 4 months, how are you not going to get Diogo Jota into your side? You must want him, surely. I don't want him, but if I find out Firmino is out for 3 Liverpool games, he's in. Like, how can I not have? Because he's not a false 9 for Liverpool. He's a forward, striker for Liverpool. How could I not get him in? Torres. If we get some more news about Torres getting nailed at City for the next 2 or 3 or 4 games, how could I not get him? How could I not have Manchester City's striker, essentially? That's a great no. That's it. No, oh my God. That's what I'm missing. No Salah. No Salah. Oh my God, I can't believe I missed that. That's why I was like, how does he afford that? Oh. They'll have to manage Antonio, don't you think? Here it is. I don't know how important West Ham, maybe if Malcolm's here, maybe Malcolm's the one to ask because he's a West Ham fan. I don't know how serious West Ham's going to take the Europa League compared to the Premier League because they've had a wonderful start to the Premier League. Antonio is their #1 man up front. Do you want to go for the Premier League or do you want to go for the Europa League group stages? If I'm a West Ham fan and you say to me, okay, you've had a great start to the Premier League, do you want to crack on and try and get top 4? Or do you want to have a go at the Europa League? I'd be saying Premier League, please. That would be great. Right. Let's have a look also at Adam. I just said Swede. This is the draft that he sent me. This is his full squad. So again, was Steele and Sanchez. 4.5 million. Keepers are always pretty underwhelming, especially not this year. They're underwhelming. Dunk, White, Amati. Wouldn't be having Amati again. Livramento, Williams, players that look like they're going to start. Amati, I think he'll be out when Vescar's here. Interesting to keep Shaw on a wild card. Is this Sway's wild card? I was going to say he's thinking of wild carding. Is he thinking of wildcarding? Hold on, because Jonathan's just sent me one. Let me just check if Swede said. Oh, it's his team at the moment. He doesn't think he'll be using a wild card. He'd rather just do Ings to Jimenez or take a -4 and do Fernandez to Ings. Fernandez and Ings to Torres and Ronaldo. Again, Adam, it comes down to that idea of how can I recommend taking a -4 for Bruno. So this is a possible wild card team. Does this have any money in the bank? If this has got any money in the bank and you can just do Ings, I wouldn't wildcard this yet. What would I play this game week? Sanchez, obviously. Sanchez. White has got Norwich. Dunk. Trent and Shaw, obviously. Rafinha has got Liverpool. Salah, Bruno, Benrahma, Bamford, Ings, Antonio. So it's 3 up front. If you take out Ings, or you're upgrading, that's fine. Oh, just taking a hit for Bruno honestly just sounds nuts. It sounds just like, how can I just can't say yes to it. I just can't. We're banking on Ronaldo like we know him from Real Madrid and parts of Juventus. Can you recommend a hit for Bruno? All I'm saying is I'm glad I don't have Bruno. I'm glad I don't have this problem. Because I would be itching for Ronaldo, but could I take a hit? I'd wildcard, honestly. If I had both of my wildcard and spread the money around and sort it out. So this would be Trent, Shaw, and Dunkel White. Rafinha, Salah, Bruno, Benrahma, Bamford, Ings. And I don't think this needs a wildcard this week. Oh, maybe. I mean, Bamford. Leeds are going to have some good fixtures, right? But the problem is they've got Liverpool next. So you've got the attacker of Liverpool and the attacking midfielder of Liverpool against your defender. And probably, well, you might captain Bruno, but then you've got Salah at 90% ownership, who's just against your team. Oh, that is a tough one. Honestly, I'd wildcard because Dunk money would be out. Sanchez would be Raya or Sarr at Wolves. White would go to a Cody. It's difficult because I'm just recommending the team that I've got, right? Because I believe in that team. I'm honestly not that worried about losing Rafinha. I'm actually not. I'd rather drop down to Traore and use that money elsewhere. Leeds have got some good fixtures, but I'm worried about Leeds. I've not seen a lot from Leeds that's made me think, oh yeah, that's looking good. Ings has got tough fixtures. Antonio is just untouchable right now. I don't know. If you're gonna take a hit for Fernandez, I'd just wildcard and go straight to Ronaldo. That's my honest opinion. This is Krista's team. If Krista's still in the chat. I like this team, by the way. He sent me a couple of weeks ago on Twitter. I thought it's absolutely rock solid. So he's got 4 solid defenders. Like Guillion, who I said weeks ago I wanted him, but I weren't able to get him. Trent Shaw, Foul. So triple West Ham down this side. Those boys have been great. Mount, I've been singing his praises since preseason. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. He's got the stats to do it. I said Jesus against Norwich was easily man of the match. He was absolutely amazing. He was also great in the last game. 8.5 million is well, isn't he one of the best forwards right now in the game? Where is he? 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry by price here, not by points. Jesus is the second best player. Now, there's a gap. Antonio is way out on 40 points, but then you've got Gabriel Jesus on second with 24, and he's 8.5 million. I really like this team. Greenwood, for as long as he's in the team. So I just would not be wildcarding this right now. You've got Mount, who's about to play Villa. You've got Greenwood. I know there's no Ronaldo here, and there's no Lukaku, so that is an issue. Could you go 4-4-2? Could you go maybe... I wouldn't even want to get rid of Mount. Greenwood down to a 4.5. That's 3 million. 8.5, 9, 10, 11. You could do Greenwood down to a 4.5 and then Hazers up to an 11.5. I'm just trying to be logical in the sense of Hazers has got Leicester and Leicester have been poor. Like, we're all itching to get Lukaku. We're all itching to get Ronaldo. I completely get it. But when you look at teams that have got good fixture, it's difficult to recommend a wild card. So Reguilon, I think, has got Palace, right? Trent's got Leeds. Shaw's got Newcastle. And as Sufal got Southampton. They're great fixtures. Mount has got Villa. Salah's got Leeds. Greenwood's got Newcastle. Benrahma and Antonio also have Southampton. Bamford has got Liverpool, which is tough. I get it. And Jesus has got Leicester, who've been leaky. So for this week, like, you want a wild card, not just when you're desperate, you want to attack. I do understand that. But to wild card when like 10 of your 11 players have got pretty good fixtures is incredibly difficult to recommend. Even though you don't have Lukaku, even though you don't have Ronaldo, it doesn't mean no one else in FPL gets points. As a squad, I like this. I think it's absolutely solid. Valentino can be saved for the Premier League. I hope so too. Fernando's not on pens, half a free kicks. That's going to affect him. No, completely agree, Aaron. I do think it's going to massively affect him. There's no money in the bank. Oh, Adam, you're sweet, Adam, right? Your thoughts is Ings to Jimenez for Game Week 4. I love Jimenez. I've always on this channel called him the Mexican marksman. As soon as he starts to get goals, I think he's going to pour in. I'm going to wait on Jimenez. I'd rather just have a go with Traore. He's missing that cutting edge at the current time, Jimenez. I think he can do it. I think he's going to get there. If you think he's going to get there now and you want to get on before everyone else, I completely understand. Post earlier for some reason. I got you, Neil. I got you. Hang on. Phil Jones is world class. No, he is not. Thoughts on Ronaldo? Williams, I take that's Brandon Williams. Allen in for Mahrez, Tony and Short with a -4. No, I again, Mahrez has got Leicester, his old club. I know that Leicester beat them at home last season at Man City, right? But Mahrez has done nothing wrong at the minute. He's got them the best stats per minute. Tony, all right, fine. And Shaw's got Newcastle at home, so it feels like it's a clean sheet getting thrown away. Just for Ronaldo. You're a Leicester fan. The update is Evans and Vestergaard back in training next week, but won't fixture against City, which means that Martin Sutter back again. Yeah, Adam, they're right back. But when people are wildcarding or thinking of long term, and they've got Armati now, he's not going to be long term. So you would have Jesus, Torres, and Grealish, etc. And you can see I've got Grealish in my side. But if I want Ronaldo, Grealish has got to go down, and I've got to hold on to Barnes. It's either get rid of Grealish or get rid of Son, and I still don't feel like getting rid of Heung-min Son. I really, really don't. Let's have a look at George's team. George, I think he told me he's 40k. George, his wildcard's active. And he's 40,000 in England right now. I'll jump to Jonathan's in a moment. Just looking at his second squad. I'm not a big fan. I think it's Smith Rowe that puts me off. So. Where did George say it was? George, you say you were 40k in the UK. Where are you now? Sorry, 8,000. Sorry. So this George, his team, he's playing his wild card, and he's currently in the top 8,000 in England, which is obviously it must be incredibly high overall rank as well. And this is exactly what I was saying earlier, guys. It's sometimes wildcarding from a position of strength to get on those players early before everyone else gets on them means that they're copying you. If you're in a strong position now and you wildcard to the next template team, you're already there, but you're already in the top 50k. So they're only going to bring in the players that you've already got in the future. You just got to hope that they perform now and not in the next 4 weeks. So current thoughts, you can see he's got here Sanchez and Foster. I would just change Foster to Steer at Aston Villa because Martinez will go. Semedo, Shaw, Duffy. Again, I'd do Duffy to Livramento personally. Arsenal defender, 4.5 million. Interesting. Wouldn't be touching Arsenal with a barge pole. And you got Livramento. That is, but you can see in a minute why, but you can see already that defense is shaky. That is a shaky defense for George there. But that's it. If you want to play the game and you want to say, right, Taylor, I want to go out and I'm going to get the 5 best attacks in the game, then do it that way. Try and get points and pray for clean sheets. So Shaw's the best defender there. Duffy's time's limited. I wouldn't be wanting to play an Arsenal defender or a Southampton defender every week. And I'd only want Wolves for the next sort of 10 weeks. So that's difficult. Get onto that midfield. Traore, Salah, Rafinha, Sarr, Gray. Decent. And then you go up front. You've got Antonio, Lukaku, and Ronaldo. It is, of course, very, very top heavy. I just feel that, like I said, if you're going to wildcard this early, I feel as though you need a bit of balance. And one injury. So, for example, you've got Gray, 5.6 million. And Sarr, 6 million. If they get injured or they get dropped, you've got nowhere to go. There's no one around them. If you've got Jota or if you've got Greenwood, 7.5, 8 million-ish, right? If they're out of form, if they get dropped, if they get injured, there's a lot of players around there that you can go. You can go down, you can go up. You can go a little bit higher to like a Grealish. You can go lower to a Traore, a Rafinha, a Harrison, a Dan James at Leeds even. A Pogba, I think Pogba's like 7.7 million, right? There's places to go. A squad like this for me is if you have one injury or one rotation to like Ronaldo or Lukaku, there's just nothing else in that squad. Like every week, I would have to have one of my big 3 premiums get something, or I'm going to have a very, very poor game week. Yeah, it's all just my opinion, guys. You might agree, you might disagree. That's FPL, right? We all have different plans, different ideas. So this is John's team. Just a bit of backstory to what John said. His game for week 14. His current rank is 1.8 million. No Antonio, no Salah, which was a mistake. That's his words, not mine. Nearly 7 million in the bank to do Adams to Ronaldo in game week 5. I'd potentially take the hit and do that now because I don't know if that's exact money, Jonathan. I don't know if you're going to be able to afford that. So as a team, Bertrand, he was in my fan team. I've been really, really unlucky with that because he got COVID right at the start of the season. I had Veltman, and on my fan team, I had Bertrand, and both of them were out. Absolutely gutted. Double Wolves defense, can't disagree. I probably would have just gone Cody over one of them, like Marcel. He's at the fullback. He could at times get injured or dropped, but anyone could, I guess. Jota, Fernandez, Son, Benrahma, solid. Jimenez, Adams. I'd possibly just take the hit and go straight right now. Go Adams to Lukaku to Ronaldo. Overall solid. Would I wildcard this? No. You've got 3 Wolves. I'm backing Wolves. People aren't. Again, unfortunate with the Backman 4.5 million instead of just going template Sanchez, but that's just the way it is. I don't know if this is a wild card though. You didn't mention it, Jonathan. If it is, I think it's fine. I mean, I think we've got too much money on the bench. That is my. This is a very, very balanced squad. Isn't Cash 5 million? Harrison is 5.9 million. And even if you do play them, you've got like a 5 million size going on your bench, or a 4.5 million here, or you're not going to bench Adams like he's 7 million. I think it's too much money on your bench there. I fully recommend a playing bench, 100%, but not benches that are worth 5-6 million. Not for me anyway. George, you're Bolton boy. It's difficult when I'm trying to sync up obviously the names of different people. Jonathan, you saying it isn't a wild card, or it is? Neil, so much your reason for going Bruno would be a big change to make me move away from that. And this is it. If I just do a -4, Grealish to a 4.5, Ings to Ronaldo, 4-4-2, I've got Salah, I've got Son, and I've got Ronaldo. So, hey, Schwell, welcome back, buddy. No wildcard, saving it for a decent double game week in the future, maybe in December. Play the game that's in front of you. That's all I gotta say. I completely agree. Like when you do that setup, right? When you do like the wild card and then the free hit and then the wild card comes in, kind of thing, or the free hit and then the wild card. Like when you double up, it can be highly effective. But there's just no guarantee when a double game week is or how it's going to pan out. How confident are you that Traore outscores Saka ESR over the next 6 to 7? Quite confident. I just see nothing from Arsenal. Nothing makes me feel good about Arsenal. Feels like I've been mean about them all season, but they've done nothing to make me think that they're even turning a corner. Like, so for example, Wolves has lost 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. And I watched it all against... I watched most of it against Leicester when they lost, and it was an even game. I watched them lose against Spurs and lose against Manchester United. And I genuinely thought that if you would have told me that they won those games, if you hid the scoreline from me and blanked out the goals, I would have possibly told you that that Wolves won those 2 games. The attack, it literally was like 90% attacking Wolves against Spurs. And in the first half, they had it saved off the line by Wan-Bissaka, and then was it in the second half, or was it still in the first half, when David De Gea made a fantastic double save that Peter Schmeichel said was save of the season. Just incredible. You can, and Wolves have got one of the best defensive stats. Jimenez and Traore are right up there with like chances created and opportunities. It just hasn't clicked yet. Just hasn't clicked. Arsenal has shown me absolutely nothing to make me think I should back them. Greenwood and Ings to Antonio and Traore for a -4. No. That's just because if Greenwood could have Newcastle. Can you not just do Ings to Antonio and not do Greenwood to Traore? Because Antonio's cheaper than Ings. You said your wild card for Chelsea good features to kick in. Good. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, Aaron. Traore and Wolves look a lot better. It's just how many goals will they get? Arsenal may continue to be trust, but you can see him putting a few past Norwich. True, but again, are you going to bring a player for one game week? If you tell me in a wild card like next week and you've got a transfer to burn, have a crack. But I go like Pepe or Aubameyang or something if you have a crack. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like much of a crack. Are Wolves kind of similar to Brighton last season? At the minute, yeah. But the difference is Brighton had more pay. And I'm not trying to be mean to more pay. But in terms of a clinical finisher, Wolves have got better ones. Wolves have got better attackers than Brighton. Simple. Not negotiable for me, that. I think that is just the truth. What end of season point total would make Adam's hard season most to say 100 runs? Good, Bobby, because I'm going to show you guys now, because I can't stay on for too long. I've got to pick up my pregnant wife because I dropped off at work and the weather's terrible here. I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to show you out my favorite Rom draft. This is Ronaldo and Lukaku. Ron and Rom, right? This is, or was currently, this was my favorite Rom draft. Sanchez and Steele, double Brighton goalkeeper. They go in the goal. I don't have to think about them ever again. Done. I'm done. Defense. Reece James, White in and out for Arsenal. I'm not a big fan of them, as you guys can tell. Sanchez, Cody, Livramento. So basically, James plays every week. And then I just rotate my other 2 defenders and play 3 at the back. 3 at the back. Benrahma, Salah, Mount, Traore. 4.5 million. And it was Sissoko, Allen. Be careful, guys. Here's just one tip. One big one before I forget. make sure your 4.5 million is a season keeper. Now, I'm not saying you have to keep them all season. What I'm saying is South Americans and African players I would avoid, because South Americans are going to go and do their qualifiers, and African players are going to go to the African Cup of Nations in, is it January? February? So if you're not going to wildcard, if you're going to wildcard now and it's got to last you for ages, check that. Don't just throw away that 4.5 million. Make sure it's a lad that plays 90 minutes and it's one that's not going to go off to international football. So just, keep your eye on that. I don't know, for Antonio, Lukaku, Ronaldo. So have a look at this. Tell me what you think, guys. Of course, you guys can see the bigger mission here is Trent Alexander-Arnold. I hate it. Of course I hate it. Of course. But for this kind of attack, something's got to give. And if you have a look, I don't think... So it's about having a balanced squad. So defense, if I need to save money, I need clean sheets. Reece James is a fantastic option. Or Rudiger, fantastic option. Chelsea, best defense in the league. Nailed, done. Cody, Wolves have, I already showed earlier, Wolves have a really, really excellent run of fixtures. They play Liverpool in game week 15, City in 16, Chelsea in 18, United in 21. And then, so the 4 difficult games between game week 4 and game week 24 in February. I can deal with him jumping in and out of my team, right? And then the third slot goes to either White or Livramento. And I've got Sanchez, who plays for Spurs, who have won 1-0 every single game. The anti-Wolves, they've won 1-0 every game. That's fine as a defense. I just don't get that Trent return. Midfield, Mason Mount is he just ticks along. Stats last season, stats at the start season, absolutely sublime. And you've got him in before the fixtures turn for Chelsea in game week 7. Benrahma, doing really well with West Ham. He's in there as well. Mo Salah, don't have to talk about him. Traore, I think he can come good. Up front, Antonio, Lukaku, Ronaldo. Solid. This is, in my opinion, the best draft I've personally made for myself. 0 money in the bank. That has Ron and Rom. So, have a look. See what you think. But I personally think this is pretty good. Cheers, Luke. If it's a boy, it's not a boy, it's a girl. But I will still name her an FPL asset. No, I'm joking. Is it good to jump onto Reece James for game week 7, even with the... Oh, all right, Jonathan, look. Yes is my answer to that one. If he goes down in price, yeah, that's why I wouldn't wildcard him in now. I'd wait for him to drop. So, so when earlier people said about Luke Shaw, I said keep Luke Shaw now and then bring in Reece James in a couple of weeks because he'll be 5.5 by then. Not a fan of White at the moment. It's because he's 4.4 and he plays. That was the only reason why, Aaron. So if James goes down to a 5.5, White goes up to a 4.5, and the world opens up for me. Is it worth to take a -4 for Wilson to Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Yeah. I mean, yeah. Probably, I think, yeah. But don't do it yet because Calvert-Lewin's not 100% fit. Yeah, so Aaron, yeah, 0 money in the bank. But if, like I said, if James goes to 5.5, White goes to a 4.5 million defender. So I can, there's loads of decent 4.5 millions that go out there. Fernandez to Salah and Diaz to Wan-Bissaka. Knowing you already have keeping Shaw Ronaldo, or should you change Diaz to Laporte? Diaz to Laporte or Cresswell, I wouldn't do it. Hey, Penguin, how you doing, buddy? Wildcard for you. Fornals, Gray, and Sarr all going on the radar. Fornals might not be in the starting 11 for much longer. Gray, I don't think he's on the radar. I don't know how long he's going to be consistent. And I just don't back newly promoted midfielders. Like, what has Sarr done so far? What has Sarr done? He got his 9-pointer in game week 1, yeah. And then 2 points. Not for me. So this is my Ron draft. I like it. I really do. And like I said, James goes to Rudiger, for example. White goes to a 4.5 million defender. Let me just have a quick. Could be a Brighton defender for 4.5 million. Could double up a Spurs defender. Could be Luke Ayling. Could bring in a Burnley. I won't really bring in a Burnley defender. Could double up on Wolves at the back. Yeah. No, that would be it basically. And then finally, I'll have to bounce. Because I've got loads of these drafts that I've made. A lot of them are balanced, which is what I said to you guys. That I think if you're gonna wildcard, you're gonna have to do it. I think I've just titled it favorite solid. All right, so this is the one for me that I believe that when we get to game week 7, people are gonna wildcard here. Now, here's the thing: people are holding off on wildcards because game week 6, game week 7. City and Chelsea are going to have difficult games against each other and against Liverpool. And then after that, it's all sunshine and rainbows for Manchester City and for Chelsea. All I'm saying is if you do it now, you've done your wild card, you've already got the players in, and you can adapt before their wild card. So this is the favorite draft that I've done so far that I think is the most balanced. I get wiggle room, and I've got the players that I want. So remember earlier I said wiggle room is like when a player in that price area gets injured, suspended, dropped, loss of form. I've got somewhere to go. So again, goalkeepers, Steer, Villa backup, Martinez goes away sometimes. Raya, the Brentford, they seem solid at the back. The only sort of player I'd get from a newly promoted side is the goalkeeper, because they're probably going to get lots of shots and possibly save points. Trent, don't have to talk about Trent. Diaz and James. You can't not have, in my opinion, like a Manchester City and Chelsea by far have the 2 best defenses in the league last season. And the start of the season, they've looked absolutely solid. So you've got Trent. So you're looking at probably the top 3 top teams there, right? I know United's not there, but for argument's sake, defensively, City and Chelsea are above everyone else. Trent, I don't need to talk about Trent, right? I don't have to explain to you guys that Trent is a good FPL asset. So week in, week out, my 3 defenders are going to consist of Trent Alexander-Arnold and 2 defenders from the best defensive teams in the Premier League for the last 2 seasons. Cody, Livramento, to balance out just in case going to my midfield. Torres, Salah, Traore, Jota, Allen on the bench. 4.5 million, Sissoko, Allen, Brownhill, whatever. Up front, Antonio Ronaldo and Armstrong. So this was coming to the point when people have said earlier, how many points should Armstrong get? What makes him worth it? I said earlier, if I'm going to wildcard, I feel like it's got to last a long time. It's got to have balance. And I would personally recommend having 3 forwards, even if one of them's cheap, like Armstrong, just because a 4.5 million defender or midfielder will play 90 minutes, unless they get dropped, all right. But theoretically, there are lots of 4.5 million players defensively. There's lots of 4.5 million players in midfield. And there's lots of 4.5 million goalkeepers that play. If you want a half decent striker, you've got to pay 6 million. So you might as well have 3 up front and then have 1 or 2 midfielders, 4.5 subs, or 1 or 2 defenders, 4.5 to even 4.1 million subs. So for this for me is if we were in the future, just right now, we could click to game week 7. This is what I would be doing right now. Because I would play Trent, Diaz, James pretty much every week. So that's 3. Torres, Salah, Traore, Jota, Antonio, Ronaldo, Armstrong, 3-4-3. Torres gets dropped. They don't play him. They rest him for a game at Man City. I go 4 and I've got Cody or Livramento to come on the bench. Or Allen. So this is, apart from my backup goalkeeper, this is a full playing squad. Let's say, so my defense is solid. I don't think there's anyone here arguing that defense is potential for clean sheets. Diaz at Man City is one of the most nailed Man City players. Reece James, maybe not nailed, I understand, but huge potential. And if he doesn't play, I've got Connor Cody or Livramento. I'm happy with it. Torres gets dropped. He no longer plays. I've got places to go. Rafinha. I can drop down to a lovely Rafinha at Leeds. Not a problem. Salah, don't have to talk about him. Traore, it's the same thing. I can go places with Traore. I'm not worried about it. Jota no longer plays. He goes to Mason Mount. Game week, if I wildcard this now, and again, this is why I say it's based on Firmino's injury news, right? If Firmino's out, I have Jota now. And then as soon as Diogo Jota's out of the team, goodbye Diogo, hello Mason Mount of Chelsea. Game week 7, goodbye Cristiano Ronaldo, hello Romelu Lukaku. With 1 million in the bank, or give or take, depending on price rises. So then that 1 million, Traore could go up to 7 million. Torres can go from a 7 to an 8 million, and so on and so forth. So if I'm going to wildcard, unless there's some other tweaks I want to make, I just feel as though this wildcard is just too early. For the reasons I said earlier, Diaz, Chelsea, James, Chelsea, Diaz, Man City, and you've got Salah and Jota, Liverpool, and Trent and Torres, they're all going to play each other. They're all going to be playing, and that's bad. So City against Liverpool in game week 7. City has Chelsea in game week 6, Liverpool in game week 7, and Chelsea, let me just jump to Chelsea. Chelsea have Spurs in 5, which is winnable for them, and City in 6. So this is what I would love to, if this was game week 7 right now, going to game week 8, this is what I would be doing. This is what I think would be fantastic. If Torres is still there, if Jota is still there. But if I was to wildcard right now, this would be my team. Jota would go to Mount when he loses his place. And I can take Torres as that risk. To take a 7.1 million player and have him as my risk to be my potential striker for Manchester City for 7.1 million is worth the risk. He doesn't play. That's not a problem. Cody comes on, or Livramento comes on, or Allen comes on, and I deal with it. You'd go Asby before James if you have the extra 0.4. I don't. I only have 0.1. And I wouldn't go to Azpilicueta. I'd go to Rudiger, because I think Rudiger's the most nailed player in that defense. Sanchez could drop out when Romeo was fit. That's why I have Raya. So yeah, if I'm going to wildcard, guys, it would probably look something like this. I said this before. I said this on the Scout stream. I believe with the way that he gets in behind, Adam Armstrong at Southampton, I get it. Man City in week 5. So again, I just think this wildcard is just too early. Game week 7, they've got Chelsea. So if I wildcard after game week 7, this is it. I can't see it changing too much from this. I really, really can't. I think it's absolutely solid. Torres to Rafinha if I want to put an extra 0.6 in my bank. Done. I really like this squad. I think it's solid. And in fact, Torres to Rafinha and then steer to a 4.5 and I'll rotate my keepers and I'll have 15 playing players. And I think that'll be really, really good. Aspi could play both wing back and centre back. That's why you pick him. But Aspi wouldn't be the one bombing down the wing. It'll be the left back, Chilwell or Alonso. And again, I said it in pre-season why I said Diaz is one of the best defenders to pick this season. He's boring. He's banged. He's already had a double-digit haul, but usually he doesn't score. He doesn't get assists. I think, what was it last year? Did he get 1 goal and 0 assists last year? What did Diaz get last year? 1 goal, 1 assist in 2,843 minutes. Diaz? But I don't care because they get clean sheets. Manchester City and Chelsea Football Club get clean sheets. So if I'm looking at my team every week and I've got 1 Chelsea lad and 1 Man City lad, I'm thinking one of those boys is probably going to get me 6 points. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine. If I were to offer you right now, okay, you will have 2 of your 3 defenders week in, week out, not bang, but tick along and get you 5 or 6 points every single game week. You'd snap their hand off. You'd take it. It's why sometimes I recommend getting a 6 million Edison instead of a 6 million Diaz, because Diaz might get rotated out, but Ederson won't. And you're not going to really have 3 Manchester City players because they rotate too much. So just get Ederson, stick him in goal, and embrace. I mean, he was second. He was the second top goal scorer, goalkeeper last year, right? He doesn't get save points. He doesn't really get bonus points. He just gets 6 points every week for 6 million. It's a point per million. It's the dream. Yeah, that looks absolutely so for Game Week 7 right now. You want to see if Wolves start to score in it. Yeah, I agree. I completely get it. You used to get Reece Gray, but you got a red card, so you change your goalkeeper. But next week, you think Reece is coming in your team for... Yeah, exactly. Shrey, exactly. So have Shaw for Newcastle. So for this, in this wild card now, James would stay as Shaw for this week. And my transfer next week would likely be Shaw to James. Or I'd keep Shaw for a while and get James later. This is my full Game Week 7-ish wildcard. When I looked at it, I thought, if you forced me to have this team for the next 20 game weeks, I'd be pretty happy. Anyway, I do have a bunch of other drafts. I don't have the time to get in with them all now. But yeah, hopefully this has made you think, maybe some ideas, maybe some players. Maybe you want to wildcard. Maybe you don't. Let me just take these off. There we go. Maybe you want to wildcard. Maybe you don't. Really think about it. Don't let price rises force it. Use that money as information. I've lost another 0.1 million on Barnes, right? But I'm not going to rush him out when we've got another week and a half and 2 or 3 international football games. This is why I know Grealish to a 4.5, Ings to Ronaldo. I get it. But I'm not going to do it because what if Ronaldo gets injured and then I'm screwed. So I just wouldn't do it. I've convinced you not to wildcard. Yeah, just take the information, see what people think, see what people suggest. I look at my team now, guys, and let's just change Ings to Ronaldo, right? This isn't a wildcardable team. I know I'm going to have Barnes against City. I get it. But wildcarding a player who's got Brighton, Leeds, Southampton, Newcastle, Watford, Palace, Leeds, Liverpool, but it's Rafinha, Southampton, and Newcastle Ronaldo. I just don't think I can wildcard that yet. So I might wildcard in 5 or 6 to the team I just showed you to go early. But like I said, I can't remember whose team we were looking at earlier. When I said, like, I understand you want a wild card, but 9 or 10 of your 11 players have a great fixture right now. I just can't. Wild card from strength is fine, but when you look at your team and they've got home fixtures, they're playing against the bottom 6, I wouldn't suggest wild carding just yet. So I still could wildcard. If things change, I could still wildcard next week. There's a long way to go to the deadline. I look at this team now. I'm happy with Son. I'm happy with Salah. I'm happy with Antonio. I'm happy with this. A -4. And then I don't even have to wildcard next week because, like I said, Barnes has got a couple of fixtures. Cody's fixtures are fine. Shaw, Soufal, Trent, Rafinha's got a great run of fixtures. Antonio's in hot form. So I'm probably still going to wildcard, say, end of game week 7, which is similar to what I showed you before. But I completely understand if you want to get ahead and try and do it. But whatever you do, make sure it's a squad that lasts. Have a couple of bench options. Make sure, like, they're not going off to international competitions. And don't just do it because of value, in my opinion. It's all about points. Your wildcard will be to get Ronaldo, but you have Lukaku, who thinks match point. Yeah, don't just do it for Ronaldo. If you've got no bench and the lads are dropped and stuff, I get it. Don't just do it just because it's Ronaldo. -4, -8 over a wildcard. I agree. A wildcard to save is phenomenal. It's a real tool in your arsenal. You're not happy with Mane, Shaw, and Digne, but you're not going to do well for a long time. And Mane can go anywhere, right? He's 12 million. You could do Mane down and still get Ronaldo and find 0.5 million somewhere, right? It's not going to be difficult. Anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. There might be a video next week, but there won't be a stream next week because there's no football. Where's the football back? There might be a stream. Wait, let me check the dates. I'm lost, guys. I'm lost. There will be a stream next week because there is football next week. It's this week there's no football. And there we go. Look at that. All of this Wonderful, wonderful football. For some reason, no longer showing me who is on the television. Okay, that's a little bit worrying. All right, so have a good time, guys. And unfortunately, no football. Absolutely gutted. I'm also working 6 days next week. I'm working the Saturday, so that's an absolute bummer. Enjoy time off. Enjoy some tinkering. Just don't press any buttons by accident. All right. Take it easy, guys. Have a good one. Hopefully catch you soon. Bye-bye.